Silent signals. How people around you stop taking you seriously without saying a word. Imagine walking into a room full of people who used to hang on your every word, and now, without any warning, without any argument or dramatic fallout, the energy has shifted. Nobody told you. Nobody sat you down. The meetings still happen. The conversations still take place. The smiles are still there. But something is deeply, quietly different. People have stopped taking you seriously, and the terrifying part is that you have absolutely no idea it is happening. This is not a rare experience. It happens in offices, in friendships, in families, and in relationships every single day. And what makes it so devastating is not just the loss itself, but the invisible nature of it. Respect does not leave with a slamming door. It slips out through a cracked window, slowly, almost politely, and by the time you notice the room has grown cold, it has already been gone for a while. The first thing you need to understand is that people rarely announce when they have stopped respecting you. Instead, they show it through behavior so subtle that most people dismiss it as a bad day, a busy schedule, or just someone being off. But when you start paying close attention, you begin to see the patterns, and patterns never lie. The eyes are usually the first to tell the truth. People who respect you hold your gaze when you speak. They are present with you. But once that respect starts to erode, eye contact becomes inconsistent, then scarce, then almost non-existent. They look past you, around you, at their phones, at anything that helps them avoid the discomfort of full engagement. It is not rudeness in the traditional sense. It is a quiet withdrawal, and it is one of the earliest signs that something has changed.
Then comes the interruptions. At first, you might chalk it up to enthusiasm or excitement, but there's a difference between someone who interrupts because they're engaged and someone who interrupts because they no longer believe your words are worth finishing. Psychology has long established that listening is one of the most profound forms of respect a human being can offer another. When someone cuts you off mid-sentence, over and over again, what they are actually communicating is that their thoughts are more valuable than yours. They may never say those words out loud, but every interruption broadcasts them clearly. And when this becomes a pattern, when you find yourself unable to complete a thought without someone else filling the space, you are watching respect drain out of the relationship in real time.
There is another sign that goes even deeper, and it lives in how people respond to your ideas. Think about the last time you shared something you were genuinely excited about. A plan, a solution, a thought, and someone responded with a flat, barely interested acknowledgement. Not an argument, not a disagreement, just a hollow yeah or a distracted nod. When someone values your mind, they engage with what you bring to the table. They push back, they build on it, they ask questions. But when respect is gone, your contributions are met with the kind of polite indifference that is somehow more crushing than outright rejection. It tells you that your input is no longer considered worth the energy of a real response. One of the most overlooked signals is the shift in how people treat your time. Respect and time are deeply connected. A person who values you shows up when they say they will. They follow through. They treat your schedule as something that matters. But when that respect quietly disappears, lateness becomes frequent, cancellations become casual, and your time is treated as something flexible and unimportant. This is not always intentional. Many people who do this would be genuinely offended if you told them they were being disrespectful. That is part of what makes this so complex. Disrespect, in its most common form, is not malicious. It is simply the natural behavior that follows when someone has unconsciously moved you down in their hierarchy of importance. What causes this shift in the first place? Research in social psychology points to several behaviors that quietly erode the respect others have for you without you ever realizing it. One of the most powerful is the habit of constant people-pleasing.
On the surface, always agreeing, always accommodating, always making yourself available seems like it would earn goodwill, and in the short term it often does. But over time, people who never push back, never hold a firm position, and never say no begin to be seen as having no real substance. There is nothing to push against, nothing that defines them, and without that definition, they stop being taken seriously. The person who agrees with everything is respected by no one.
Oversharing is another quiet killer of respect that most people never connect to the problem. When you share too much too soon, when every struggle, every insecurity, and every grievance is laid out in public conversation, you take away the sense of depth that makes people curious about you. Depth creates interest. Interest creates value. Value creates respect. When there is nothing left to discover because everything has already been announced, people stop leaning in. They already know the full story before you have even begun telling it. Then there is the issue of inconsistency between what you say and what you do. This one works fast and cuts deep. When your words and actions do not match, the people around you begin to quietly recalibrate how much weight they give your words. Every unmet promise, every stated boundary that gets crossed by your own behavior, every time you say one thing and do another, chips away at your credibility. And credibility is the foundation that all respect is built on. Once people stop trusting what you say, they stop investing in what you mean. The most important thing to understand about all of this is that losing someone's respect is almost never a single event. It is a process. It is built over time through small moments, small choices, and small signals that accumulate until the picture changes. And the reason so many people never catch it happening is because they are not looking for small things. They are waiting for the big confrontation, the honest conversation, the moment when someone finally tells them the truth. But that moment rarely comes because most people are not cruel enough to say what they actually think. They are just honest enough to show it. The good news, and there is real good news here, is that the same way respect is lost gradually, it can also be rebuilt gradually. It starts with honesty, not with others, but with yourself. It starts with asking hard questions about the patterns in your relationships, the ones where you feel invisible, dismissed, or taken for granted. It starts with carrying yourself in a way that communicates your own value before you ask anyone else to recognize it. Because at the end of the day, the way people treat you is largely a mirror of the signals you have been sending them over time. Change the signals, and eventually, the mirror changes too.